welcome to my playhouse. And I'm in the driveway and I got a new car. Cool. I don't like getting a new car, I like to get the new car. All the negotiations and all the trouble with uncertainty if you are getting the right car. It's not a new car, it's a newer car. The one I had before was 12 years old and this one is only 7. So it's a used car, but it's new to me. So and something else is in the car. And it was something that followed me home from work and I just couldn't let it be. Oh, it's a new server. It's a Model 2 IBM 3650 Model 2 server. And it's got brackets for mounting and also this funny thing. It's a serial port. It works with, you connect one USB port to the server and you get 8 serial ports. So that's kind of nice. We were not gonna be using that at work anymore and now I got it. But I haven't seen what's inside of this server. I kind of know what kind of processor is in it because we have only bought it with one model of processors, but I have no idea how much RAM and actually only how much RAM is in it. The hard drives are down here. There's 3 SAS hard drives. They're 146 gigabytes each. So I'll take it with me inside and let's see what's in it. Oh, the friendly cat arrived. I've been cheating. I've been feeding her. So she comes back and wants to play and probably wants some more food. So, but back to the server. Yeah, well, I'm totally spoiling that cat. But it's so nice to have a little cat coming here every weekend when I'm here. It's not my cat, but if I feed it enough, it probably will be. But let's go see the server. I just put it here on the table. Had to clean the table. Behind it is all the crap that I had in my car. When you get a new car, you have to empty out the old one, and you find out how much you really store in there. I just noticed on the rear of the server that there's a couple of dead network adapters. There's 2 network cards and there's 2 power supplies, which is usually a good thing. 2 power supplies, which means it probably has 2 processors. So this time you're along for the ride all the way. I have no idea what's inside of this. Of RAM. Yeah, let's see. 1 processor, 2 processors. So 2 processors. And there's a rate controller in it. I can't see the model, but it looks big. It's not the normal one. And there is 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's not a lot. I'll probably have to put some more in to use it for my VMware and my rendering. But otherwise it's pretty clean. There's not a lot of stuff here. Let's see, it has the IBM advanced feature key. This is the key that you put in the server so that you can take over remote control of the console on the IBM adapter, and it's quite expensive, or at least it was quite expensive. I have paid up to about $200 for one of these, and that hurts. That hurts very bad. But otherwise, it looks kind of empty. There's just not a lot of stuff inside of this. It's 10,000 rounds per minute. Actually, my biggest problem is I can almost not fit it anymore. Let's go see the data center. Yeah, these are the Model 2s, which I now got another one, and these 4 are the Model 3s, so I will have some difficulties fitting it in here because I have no more space in this rack. It's more or less full. I could take out the the bottom 2 U's. It's not working anyway. If you've seen my video, you saw that catastrophe. I could place it over here, or maybe take this blade sender and put that over here. That might be a good idea, to put the blade sender over here. There's another blade sender up there. So I think I'll find room for it. Probably take the blade tender and put it over here is the best option. And then I have to move a lot of servers. That's always irritating. Right now all of the servers are off. Only this one is on. The light is constant. All the other ones are blinking. They're not doing anything right now. They're just on a standby. And this one up here, I don't know why there's an emergency light on it. That's not supposed to be there. Guess the cat is gone. Don't know where she went. I got a new server. It's very much like all the other ones, but it has a lot of processing power, and I could put some more RAM in it and it will be all good. It's gonna be pretty cool. I'm probably gonna take out the network adapters. I don't have that many ports in my switch anyway. If I can put in the 2 network cards that are on the main board and the remote, the the IMM port that is over here, that would be more than enough. Normally I only put in the IMM and one network card, because I am running out of ports in my switch. Now that I have it on the table and I've cleared the table and everything, I might as well put in the RAM that to get this server up to the amount of RAM that I would like for it to have. And more or less I think that RAM is just as good in the server as on the shelf. And I got a whole bunch of RAM for this server model. There is 4 GB blocks and there's 2 GB blocks, and yeah, in one happy blend. This server is a bit difficult when you're configuring the amount of RAM in it, because it has some RAM. The RAM is divided into different banks, and you have to put in the RAM in a specific order, and the more RAM you put in the server, the slower the frequency of the RAM is. So it's a good thing to not fill up the bank if you if you don't need that much RAM. It would give you a bit more speed on the RAM if you can not use the last RAM bank, memory bank. But let's see what happens. Let's go into the server. We had this open earlier. I closed it up again, and we had 3 memory blocks in here. And I'll move the camera so that you can see them. The server has, I think it's 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 16 banks for memory, but it has 3 banks. And the order for putting in memory is on the LED of the server, and you can see it here. Oops. In order for the server to use the memory, processor number 1 is using these banks, and processor number 2 is using these banks. And more or less you can see that the first processors are using the first 8 slots, and the second processor is using the last 8 slots. So that's pretty simple. If you only have one processor, you're only able to put in these memory slots. The other ones will not help you anything. So, but with 2 processors we are able to fill up the server. But if we fill up the server, the memory frequency will drop to 800 MHz. If we only put in the first memory bank, the memory bank contains of 3 slots. So if we put in 3, 6 and 8, we can get up to 1.33 GHz on the memory frequency. That we can only achieve if we have one of the high-end processors for this server. This server, the one I've got, does not have that high-end processor. It has the one just below, and that means that we can fill up the first 2 memory slots. So this is the first memory slot, and the next 3 is that, yeah, that's, no, here we are. Those 6 numbers, we can fill up those memory slots, and we will have dropped the frequency to 1066 megahertz, which is okay. If we fill up the last, how do I do that? Oh, I think my finger is on the wrong. I can't do that with one finger. These are the bottom ones. It's the first 6 numbers in the, which is in the first 2 banks, and the last 2 numbers, like this, are on the 3rd bank. And it's, if we use the 3rd bank, we drop the memory frequency down to 800 megahertz. It's not a big problem. I don't think it's probably not that much different, but if we don't need to fill up the server entirely, we can have a bit higher frequency. And on the motherboard I can read that this is slot number 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that corresponds with the numbers that there's a memory block in number 3 and number 6 for the first processor, and one in number 11 for the second processor. So 3 and 6 and 11. I think I can put in memory in any order that I want, as long as I keep to this drawing. So it should be quite easy to fill up the first 6 slots with memory, but I will try to keep the memory sizes equal for the process. I don't know why, but I kind of like that in my head, so I'm gonna do that. So first I need another memory block for processor number 2. I can't remember which one is processor number 2. Which one is that? It's this one. No, it's this one. It's up here on the LED. This is processor number 1 and this is processor number 2. Just zoom in on that. Right. It says processor number 1 here, and over here it says processor number 2. So to put in more memory, I need to put in, let's start with a memory block for this one, and I'm gonna start out looking if I have something that is similar to the ones that are in there already. It really does not seem like it. Let's take it out. This is the one that was in it, and I got one that looks like this. Just gonna check if it's the same. It looks like that those blocks will fit in there perfectly, and the numbers are just about the same. I'm not even sure if this memory can do 1.3 gigahertz, but never mind. I'll put this in together with this one that was in here already. I'll put this back. And find out which slot I have to put in the next one. And it's here. Number 11 is in, so I need to put in number 14. 14, 11, 13, 14, that one. And the amount of memory in the server has increased by 4 gigabytes. I have two more that I'm gonna put in. And on processor number 1, I have to put it in slot number 2. And that's this one. No, sorry. Not yet. It's slot number 8. Now the first bank is full in this server, or processor number 1 we've filled up the first memory bank. Now it has 3 memory banks, so the first memory bank consists of 3 memory blocks, and the second memory bank consists of 3 memory blocks, and the last or third memory bank consists of 2 memory blocks. But the first memory bank is full. Next memory block, and it will go for the second processor. And up here, let's zoom in. I already got 2 blocks in, so 11 and 14 is occupied. I have to put in number 16, and it's about the same as up here. I had to put in number 8, which is the last. So number 16 is this one. And now the server is equipped with 24 gigabytes of RAM. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna put in some more. So I was disturbed, and so this is the next day, and I'm continuing this video. Right now I have 24 gigabytes of memory in this server, and I wanted to put in some more. And what I'm using it for is rendering jobs, and that would be nice to have 2 rendering servers on this host, and with each rendering server being able to use 16 gigabytes of memory, which makes that this server really should have 32 gigabytes of memory. But I'm gonna put in 36 gigabytes of memory because that's this first bank full with 4 gigabyte blocks, and then I'll fill up the second bank with 2 gigabyte blocks. And I just looked at them, and have exactly enough 2 gigabyte blocks to do that. So I'm gonna put in 2 gigabyte blocks in the second bank. And now the sun came up. And if we look at the drawing over here, we will see that now we have to put in number 2, number 5 and number 7 for the first processor, and number 10, number 13 and number 15 for the second processor. So we will do that here. Number 2 goes this way. And number x3650. It's this one. And number 7, which is this one. No. So now this bank is, or this processor for the first processor, these 8 slots are full except of 2. And that's number 1 and number 4, and that's because they're in the 3rd memory bank. And as I mentioned earlier, if we put in these 2 memory slots or memory cards, the memory frequency will drop from 1066 megahertz to 800 megahertz. So with this configuration, I'm able to keep the memory frequency at its peak. These processors are only able to do 1066 megahertz, so I'm not losing anything. I'm not getting the maximum amount of RAM, because I actually got 4 GB memory blocks that I could have put in, but then I'm getting more memory in the server than I'm actually gonna need in it. So, but for the second processor, we're doing exactly the same, and that was number 10, 13, and 15. Number 10. Number 13. There we are. And the server is configured with, how much is that? 12 memory blocks and a total memory of 36 gigabytes. As you can see, when working with a server like this, all the information you really need is on the LED of the server. Like these few numbers are, if you can read this correctly, it's all you need to configure the memory in a server like this. And I do actually think that you can blend the memory some more. You don't have to use all 4s and all 2s. You can put in the memory a bit more random than this. This is the right way to configure this server if you have 2 processors and want to use the 2 first memory banks, or rather you want to use the first 2 memory banks. If you have this kind of a processor, it's a 2.4 gigahertz quad-core processor. I don't remember the number for it. I'll write it down here. It's a Xeon X55 something, 40 probably, 30, 40. But this is the maximum configuration for that processor. If I put in the last 4 slots of memory, the memory frequency will decrease to 800 megahertz. I'm not sure how much that really does for the server, how much less performance you get out of it. I was thinking about that. I want to test this in another video, try to configure the server differently, put in the last 4 memory blocks and see how much it slows down on a specific task. and I was gonna use the task that I usually use these servers for, but I'll do that in a later video just to test that, because I'm curious myself. That's how you put in more memory in a IBM 3650 Model 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see me again. Have a really nice day. And now I'm gonna go outside. The weather is way too good to be making server videos. Have a nice day.